Welcome to Be Me with Shari Ware, the podcast where each day is a step towards a better you and where we focus on progress, not perfection. Join me as we embark on a journey of self-improvement and wellness, focusing on being just a little better than we were yesterday. Hello and welcome to episode number 20 of the Be Me podcast. My name's Shari Ware. I'm your host, and in this episode we are talking about self-love, loving yourself. Louise Hay said it perfectly. Self-approval and self-acceptance in the now are the main keys to positive changes in every area of our lives. Definitely that rings true for me. I know that I have a much better outlook on life in recent years, where I have learnt to love myself, than in many of my earlier years where I didn't love myself. So, what is self-love? What is it? Why is it beneficial? And how can you do it? Or how can you incorporate it into your life? Basically, it is accepting, appreciating yourself, recognizing your worth, treating yourself with kindness, prioritizing your own needs and well-being. It does not mean that you are selfish. I know that that's something that I definitely struggled with in my earlier years when I was bringing up my children. I didn't do things for myself. I didn't show myself love. I didn't prioritize my own needs because I felt guilty if I did. I put my children, I put my family first. And when I look back on those years, I thought I was doing the best thing, but in some cases it actually wasn't, and I did all of us a disservice by doing that. So if you are one of those people and beautiful people, caring people, really care about the others in their lives, but they don't. You're not taking care of you. You're not prioritizing your own needs. You definitely want to listen up, because I'm about to show you why it's important that you do, and also give you some really simple, easy ways that you can get started to do it. So why? Why is it benefit for you to practice self-love and show you self-love? First of all, it reduces stress and anxiety. When you treat yourself with kindness and understanding, it just makes it easier to navigate challenges, because you're not adding in an extra challenge of self-criticism. You're helping yourself rather than hindering yourself. And I like to remind people of this old saying that I was brought up with. It's an oldie but a goodie. You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. So when you speak to yourself kindly, it's just like when you speak to anybody else. If you speak kindly, you get a much better result than if you speak negatively. It helps with self-esteem. I mean, that's probably kind of a no-brainer. When you show yourself love and compassion, it's going to help you to have a better opinion of yourself than if you are constantly criticising yourself. We are all human. We're not perfect. That is part of the human condition. We are perfectly imperfect. And it's really important to accept that we're not perfect, and that is how we're meant to be, and just celebrating what our strengths and the awesome things about us, because there are many awesome things about us as human beings. The world would not be the same without you in it, just the way you are. So it also helps with better mental health, Research has shown that self-love is linked to improved mental health conditions. People who practice self-love and compassion are much less likely to experience depression. And they're able to cope with challenges better. They're more resilient. It makes it easier to be the willow tree swaying in the wind rather than a tree that's so rigid that it gets ripped out by the roots. It helps with relationships. When you love and respect yourself and treat yourself with kindness, other people are more likely to do the same. It starts from the inside. When you treat yourself with love, respect, and kindness, you're less likely to tolerate it from other people. So even if there are people in your world that would treat you with disrespect and mistreat you, you're not going to attract them. You're going to repel them because you don't take that from yourself. So you're not going to be prepared to take it from anybody else. People who are constantly surrounded by people who disrespect them and mistreat them, a lot of times it's because whether they realize it or not, that's how they treat themselves inside. And sometimes it's subconscious, we don't realize it. Awareness is always the first step, and some people are just not aware that that's what they're doing and how it is impacting their lives. But you will attract the same kind of people. All right, so now that we know why it's beneficial to us to do this, how do you do it? First of all, positive self-talk. So that's part of how you treat yourself kindly, is by speaking to yourself positively. And some of us don't realize how negative our self-talk is. So you've got to start by monitoring what you're saying to yourself. Awareness, as I said before, is always the first step. So start to monitor your inner dialogue. When you are speaking to yourself, when you find that you're speaking to yourself negatively, flip it. I didn't come up with this, but it's a really easy way to think about it, is flip the script. And whenever you have a negative thought, replace it with at least one. More would be better, but at least one positive opposite statement to counteract that. I actually have conversations with myself. I have arguments with myself. A negative thought comes into my head and I say, oh, really? Is that right? I don't think that's right. And then I'll come up with something to counteract what I said to proof that thought is not correct. Now, if this is something that you don't do now, in the beginning, it might you might have to do this a lot. But what I can tell you is if you're patient with yourself and be kind to yourself, and don't judge it, just know that this is part of the human condition. It's part of being a human being. If you're patient and persistent and just consistently keep doing it, the more you do it, the less you will have to do it over time. And I always say to people that think about, if you say something negative to yourself, would you say that same thing to your mother, your father, your husband, your wife, your daughter, your son, your sister, brother, cousin? Would you say the same thing in the same way to any of those people that you love? Because if you wouldn't, then why are you saying that to yourself? All right. And the next one is to set boundaries, learning to say no. This is about prioritizing your own needs. And I know I know the guilt. I know the guilt. I struggled with this myself. I know a lot of people struggle with this. And the overflowing cup, give from the overflow. When you fill your cup, You let it overflow, and then you give from the overflow. Everybody's happy. So learn to say no. It's okay to say no. I remember learning in one of the courses that I did that, and it's something I remind myself all the time. As human beings, we can do anything. We are amazing. We can literally do anything, but we can't do everything, especially if, in this busy world and you're somebody who's driven and you've got lots of things you want to achieve and do in your life. And then you might, be raising a family and working, all those things. It's really important to understand that you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And sometimes you have to prioritize your own needs so that then you can be the best you that you can do and do more for those people that you want to do for, that you love. And this is another analogy I use all the time because it's a real life analogy, and there's a reason for it, and it perfectly complements and demonstrates exactly what I'm saying. When you're in an airplane, what do? They tell you to fit your own oxygen mask first in the event of anything happening, even before fitting your child's. And why do they tell you to do that? Because you can't help anybody else if you can't breathe yourself. So you have to fit your own oxygen mask and then look after your child. It's exactly the same thing. It's a real life scenario. And this is how important it is. Self-care rituals. So incorporating self-care rituals into your daily routine. Now, it doesn't have to be anything big or expensive or take a lot of time. It could be a bath once a week. It could be getting out in nature. It could be reading a book. It could be a cup of tea in the morning in the sun. It doesn't have to be the same thing every day. It's really good if you are doing things for yourself on a daily basis, but it doesn't have to be the same thing every day. You don't have to go for an hour hike out in nature every day. Just think of some self-care rituals that would really make you feel good, that you equate with showing yourself love, and start to incorporate them one at a time. Don't try and do everything at once because that never works. Might work in the short term, but doesn't work in the long run. Start to incorporate them into your daily life. Practicing forgiveness is the next one. And we're not talking about other people here. We're talking about forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself for anything that you feel that you need to give yourself forgiveness for anything you've done in the past that you are, hanging on to. Understand that you're a human being. It doesn't we're not excusing anything. It's not about excusing. It's just about forgiving. You are human. You did what you did. There's nothing you can do about it now. It's done. So why hold on to the regret? It's only going to hold you back. It's going to hinder you. It's not going to help you move forward. So remember that song from Frozen, Let It Go. Let it go. Forgive yourself. Forgiveness is freeing. When you forgive yourself, you free yourself. So you're definitely going to get a much better outcome if you forgive yourself for anything that you need to forgive yourself for. Celebrating achievements is really important. Acknowledge and celebrate any achievements, no matter how big or small. Recognizing your successes, it reinforces positive self-image, boosts your motivation. It will encourage you to do more and to keep doing more. It brings in, by celebrating, you're bringing in dopamine, and that creates a loop. It creates this is all science. This is how our bodies work, the hormones, and it will encourage you to do more because you want to keep getting that dopamine hit. Daily affirmations are really helpful, a really simple, helpful thing that you can do, and whatever resonates with you. So it could be telling yourself over and over every day, things like I am worthy, I am enough, I am limitless, I am amazing, I am lovable, I love myself, I am willing to love myself if you're not there yet, with the actual loving yourself. Find a way that resonates with you, that feels true for you. It doesn't mean you're not going to change it as you progress. Practice makes progress. Jim Quick said that, and I really love that. As you practice, as you progress, things will change. You will change, but you need to start somewhere. Mirror work is also an amazing tool to help you with this. All of these things, I'm giving you lots of different options, lots of simple options. It's not for you to try every single one. I just like to give people lots of different options because different things resonate and work for different people. You might try some of them and go, oh yeah, no, that's not for me. But you might try others and think, oh yeah, that definitely works. So it's just about giving you so that you don't have to go looking for stuff, giving you all the different things, or not all the different things, but a lot of different things that you could try. And then, you can go and do more research if you have the time, but a lot of people don't have the time, and I'm trying to help you make it quicker for you. I've learned all this stuff. I took the time. I did it the hard way. So I'm trying to make it easier for people. So mirror work is amazing. Louise Hay created this life-changing practice. Well, she taught it anyway. I don't know. Maybe she didn't create it, but I know it's definitely something that was a big part of her teachings. Now, when I first came across mirror work, I'd been on a journey for a few years at that point, and I thought I loved myself. I thought that, when I looked in the mirror, I liked what I saw, and I loved myself. I thought I'd done the self-love. And then I learned about mirror work, which basically was it's very simple. You look in the mirror and you tell yourself you love yourself. Very simple. Sounds simple. Easy to do. No problem. So I thought, okay, when I get up, because Louise Hay would say that it was the first thing she did in the morning. She'd get up, go to the mirror, tell herself that she loved herself. I'm like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to start doing that. So the first day I got up and I went to the mirror and I tried to look myself in the eye in the mirror and tell myself that I loved myself. And I was surprised and shocked to find that I actually couldn't. I couldn't look myself in the eye and tell myself that I loved myself. And that was a massive aha moment for me because I thought I'd done all the work. I've since learned that you can think you've done all the work and you've never done all the work. There's always work to be done, and that's okay. That's part of being human. But it was a really big shock for me. So what did I do? Well, I looked in the vicinity of the mirror and I told myself I loved myself, and reasons why. And it made me realize that I still had a lot of work to do. So I kept doing it. I made it a part of my daily routine to go and tell myself that I love myself in front of the mirror. It took me a while, but eventually I could look myself in the eye and tell myself I loved myself. And now I can do that. There's things I don't love about me on a daily basis, but on the whole, as a person, I can look myself in the eye and tell myself that I love myself in the mirror. And that was something that I couldn't do even when I thought that I would be able to in the beginning. So if it's something that you haven't done, if you've never heard of mirror work and you've never done that, I highly encourage you to do it. I hope that you are further along than I was and you can actually look yourself in the eye and tell yourself that you love you and really mean it. But if you can't, that's okay. You just got to start somewhere and just keep doing it, and eventually, again, practice makes progress. Eventually you'll get to the point where you can. But that's definitely a life-changing tool. All right, almost there. Bear with me just a little bit longer. Mindful meditation. So practicing mindfulness and meditation to connect with your inner self, spending a few minutes each day focusing on your breath and letting go of negative thoughts. The last episode I did was on mindfulness, and I have done a previous episode on meditation. So I will link to those in the show notes for you as well. Actually, what I will do is I will, just so that there's not so many links, I won't link to those in the show notes. I know that they're in the Be Me Bites edition, so I'll give you that link, and then it's just one link and everything will be in there. All right, 2 to go. Gratitude journaling. Keeping gratitude journal, which will remind you of the good things in life. It will, when you're focusing on what you're grateful for, it shifts your focus to that, and it will help you to be kinder and more loving to yourself. And now this is the last one, but it's last but not least, and it's asking for help. Now, this is something that I know I've really struggled with over my life for many different reasons. At times it was because I didn't think I was important enough for people to help me. At times I had a belief that I wasn't deserving of people helping me. At times I thought there were other people who needed help more than me. Lots of different reasons at different times over my life why I struggled to ask for help if I needed it. It's still something that, I'm not 100% comfortable with yet, but it's easier to do now than what it was in previous years. Again, Jim Quick, practice makes progress. But asking for help when you need it is one of the most courageous things you can do. It doesn't seem like it's a courageous thing, but it is. You actually have to be really strong to recognize when you need help and ask for it. So know that that's okay. Know that you're important enough. You are worth and deserving of other people's help. And the people that you love want to help you. Sometimes they don't know that you need help. So tell them, ask for help when you need it. All right, so that is it. This is a long episode, longer than they usually are. I know my amazing daughter who does my subtitles is not going to be happy that this episode is double in length. But it was all important. It really was. There's nothing. This is actually the second time I've recorded it, because the first time I did it was 26 minutes and we're just under 23 minutes now. So it is better, but I'm not going to record it again because everything was important and it all needed to be included. I will direct you to the corresponding BB Bites edition of this episode, which is Be Me Bites 18, Embracing Self-Love, Being Kind to Yourself. All of the extra, you definitely want to check that one out for this episode, because all of the extra resources I put resources in the Be Me Bites editions that I don't necessarily put in the podcast episodes, just because it's double up. You don't need everything everywhere twice. But definitely go and check that out, because there will be links to all those other editions that I spoke about meditation and gratitude and things like that will help you when and if you're ready for those steps. So I'll put that in the show notes. Definitely check that out. And until the next episode, keep taking one step at a time. See ya.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Remember to check out the show notes, and if you have any comments, feedback or suggestions, I'd love to hear them. If you've received value from this podcast, make sure to subscribe, and I'd love you to rate and review the show. Have a fabulous day.